Hi, my name is Alistair, and today we will be analyzing 4 movie title sequences, so without further ado, let's begin. Our first example comes from the movie Seven, which starts off with the character of Somerset listening to a metronome. Low-key lighting is used to set a drab and gritty tone to the scene. The scene then starts to cut between Somerset and the metronome. When the scene cuts to the metronome, selective sound is used to cut off all ambient sound and just focused on the beat of the metronome. This helps to establish the important theme of time in the film. As the screen cuts to black, all sound is silenced. This gives a clear transition between the scene in the room and the actual title sequence. We then go into the title sequence, which uses an ominous score to set the atmosphere. On the screen, we're shown disjointed clips of paperwork, photographs, and extreme close-ups of someone's fingers. These clips are used to make the audience feel uncomfortable, as we are shown disturbing images of crooked hands and corpses, along with odd contraptions and the fingers doing peculiar things such as handling razor blades. The editing used helps to further establish that sense of unease, as jump cuts, superimposition, and color filters are used to make the scene seem very disjointed and broken up. This is further compounded by the text used in the credits, as it's very messily written and flickers around like a broken light. This title sequence manages to set up one of the main characters and also set up the mystery of who this person with the files is and what is he planning. Our second title sequence comes from The Shining, which starts off with an ominous score of trumpets, along with a long take establishing the scene. The landscape shown off in these shots is very barren, giving off an isolated atmosphere. It then cross-dissolves to a bird-eye view following the car that contains our main characters. The title sequence doesn't actually start till around a minute into the film, which lets the music and the environment shots set up a certain tone for the film, and even when the credits do show up, they're very minimalistic so that we still remain focused on what's happening on screen. The score also becomes more ominous as the title sequence goes on, possibly representing how the car is coming closer and closer to the hotel. Now that the opening credits are finished, we get an establishing shot of the hotel, which makes sure that all the audience's attention is focused on this one location. Our third example is going to be a little bit less sinister as we analyze the title sequence of Run Lola Run. Very early on, we get the surreal scene of a pendulum with a face on it, giving a smooth transition between credits. This also provides symbolism, as time is a very important aspect throughout the film. In the background, we have this intense and fast-paced score, accompanied by the ticking of a clock, once again showing the importance of time in this movie. The camera also tilts up to give us a shot of the main clock piece. The rapidly rotating hands on the clock gives us the idea that time is going by very quickly. We then zoom into the mouth of the clock decoration, giving us a smooth transition to the next sequence. We then hear the whispering of the main character as we look at blurry, sped up footage of being lost in the crowd, giving us this confused feel to the scene. The background is also a whitish yellow, which makes sure the audience has no idea where the location of the crowd actually is. We then get some narration in the background talking about the confusing nature of the human race, coinciding with the confusing nature of this scene. Every so often, the scene will slow down and give us focus on one character, showing that they are important in the film. We then come across a policeman talking about the theory of a football game, which is completely unrelated to everything we've seen so far, which adds to the unpredictability of this opening sequence. We then go to a bird's eye view zoom out, showing the entire crowd form the title of the movie. This gives a reason as to why the location of the crowd wasn't very clear earlier. We then transition to an animated sequence of the main character running down a hallway. We then see the credits pick up from where they left off during the clock scene. This animation gives us more imagery of time running out and how things are getting more dangerous as time goes by. Some examples of this are shown in the clocks, which turn into monsters, and also the spiders and bats which try to harm the main character. This is also accompanied by a more intense score as the scene goes on. Finally, all the characters are shown to us via mugshots, implying that all of them are guilty in one way or another. This is further established by the use of sound effects. When the photos are being taken, we hear a camera shutter sound, and when the actors' names pop up, we hear the sound of a jail cell door being closed. Our final example of a title sequence comes from the movie Memento. This title sequence starts off much simpler, as we just get regular credits fading in over a black screen. One thing about the beginning of this title sequence is that the music slowly swells up until we get to the title of the movie. Once we see the title of the film, we slowly fade into the scene. The scene shows us a hand holding a very disturbing Polaroid of a murder scene. The copious amounts of blood symbolizes extreme violence and gives a dark and gritty tone to the film. We then see the character shake the Polaroid picture, supposedly to make the image clearer, but something seems a little odd. Not only does the image become less clear with more shaking, but also the paper steadies itself too fast after the shaking, which makes it very unnatural. As the scene goes on, we see the picture become more and more white as time goes on, which conflicts with the audience's natural assumption when it comes to these photos. We then see clear evidence of events happening in reverse order as we see a Polaroid go into the camera and the camera then takes the photo, leading to a twist later on in the scene. More examples of this reverse order is shown as we see blood on the wall defy gravity and move back upwards. It's then revealed that the murder scene in the photo had only just taken place. At the end of the scene, it's made completely clear that what we've been witnessing is the murder taking place in reverse, highlighting the main motif of this film. That wraps up my analysis of these title sequences. Thank you for watching.